the inspection company out there. Of course, that's been lifted. I believe after April 14th, you're allowed to. Some inspection companies are getting the job done, but it's a different market out there. Are those buyers that are calling you, are they not attached to homes? They don't have homes they're selling? Are they more on the first-time home buyer side?
Yeah, I would say I had about a dozen buyers that were ready to go, pre-approved in the car. I've got half of those, and about between 5 and 6 of those buyers are first-time home buyers. Some of our buyers are already under contract. They'd already had their purchase under contract, and then they were waiting to list. So with Stewart Team Real Estate Partners, we actually have a few homeowners that they already know where they're going to go, but they're right in this middle place that now kind of feels like purgatory.
So Jessica and Kevin, let me say this to you. My daughter and son-in-law, they live in Colorado. They're looking for houses right now. And they're on lockdown as well. But how are they looking for houses? They're on the Internet. They're doing virtual tours. They're checking things out in the area that they want to live in. And then, of course, they're sending me the listings so I can take a look at them, right? I mean, that's really what's going on in the market now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Is people are living in a virtual world right now, right? And housing is always going to be one of those things where people want to go in and see it physically. That's fine. We understand that. We've got ways of putting contracts into place for people right now that can tie the house up and then allow for some sort of responsible way of viewing that home, even if that's 2 weeks from now. So we have ways to work with people. And what they think that's going to cause is, like you said, when you've got everybody sitting and waiting and not a lot of inventory coming on, it's going to create some pent-up demand. We have a lot of sellers that we've talked to in the last couple of weeks that we have said, just hold for a minute. Just hold. Once we kind of get our marching orders from the governor, we will decide then if we know for sure that, or we feel very confident that we're going to go back to business on the 14th, we plan on listing actually quite a few homes about 4 or 5 days earlier than that, because people are still going to be sitting at home looking, and we want to get those clicks and those eyeballs. We want to have people see those homes while they have the time to do it, because once people go back, I think it's going to be gangbusters. So we have some people that we're preparing to go on. Now, if things are extended by a week or 2 weeks or whatever the case is, we've taken the stance as a company that we're going to follow that. You know, we believe in safety, not just for us and our families, but for everybody around us. It's a responsibility to be safe. And so we're taking that stance, and we're going to go directly off the orders of the governor, and we're going to follow that to the T. But that doesn't mean that we can't find ways to set our clients up for success in the coming weeks, in the coming months. Because I don't think this is going to send us into a real estate recession. I don't. Just because I see how much demand is still there. And if you look at what happened and the reasons for all the other recessions, it's still not this. This has never happened before. But this is going to end up being a 5, 6, 7, 8 week type deal. But as long as people can start working again soon, I don't think this is going to have major lasting effects.
We were having a great. Oh, go ahead, John Kolb. What is that?
We got a hand raised. This is great.
Oh, go ahead, John. Go ahead. Jump in.
Just while we're talking about all this, we also got to let all our listeners know that, I was going to say viewers because I'm looking at y'all, but all our listeners know that during this period of time, you're going to go through some hardships. You're going to have some temporary layoffs. And we are still able to do a mortgage for you while you're going through your temporary layoff. Does that mean that we're going to close while you're temporarily laid off? Probably not. But it doesn't mean that we can't get the loan and the process started so that when you're back day one, you can close. And we've got those guidelines put in place for people to protect them, to make sure. And I know that Jessica and Kevin, the real estate market is also extending purchase agreements with an addendum that allows for an additional 30 days for instances like this to help people so that they're not, we don't want things to come to a screeching halt. We want to make sure that things are still moving along. And these are the type of things that our governor and the real estate market, the mortgage market has put in place to help in those instances to make sure that we're still able to get those people. All our auto workers, we want you out there looking for homes. We want you out there. You may not close in 30, 45 days. It may be closer to 60, but it all depends on when you're going to go back to work, and we can get you ready while you're waiting for that all to happen. It doesn't have to wait until you start.
Alrighty, hey guys, we're up against our first break here this morning. Come and join the show, 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. Alrighty, welcome back to the show. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We are powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 2289. Always reach us at Capital Mortgage, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage bank. You're going to save a ton of money on closing costs, but really get the knowledge behind you, become a successful homeowner, and definitely things will be changing here. We've got Kevin Stewart, Jessica Zielke, Stewart Team Real Estate Partners out in Rochester Hills. They're on Main Street there, and they're figuring out a way to keep busy. Joining us on the show this morning, we're throwing a whole bunch of things out there, and we'd like to hear from you. Again, 248-539-9797. Kevin, one of the things that I wanted to throw at you is, we got some job loss going on here. We got some temporary layoffs. What about taking that backup offer? It seems as if a lot of the homes, we're seeing the real estate signs are being left, the listing signs out in front of the yard, they're being left out there. We're considering taking some more backup offers because you just never know what can happen.
Yeah, I think any of my sellers right now would love to see some backup offers. It's such uncertain times, and with people that are being laid off, they're being furloughed, different things like that, there's a lot of uncertainty for a seller. Sellers aren't convinced that their home is going to go to the closing table. They've never been more scared to have a deal fall apart at the nth hour. I'm just telling you, because I talk to our sellers every day, and we're constantly having that conversation, and there's a little bit of fear management that constantly has to happen. So having a backup offer, I think is really, really good. If you've got the ability to get one or you've got the ability to put one in, now may be a good time to do it because there's a decent chance that gets considered in some fashion or form.
We often talk about...
Kevin and Jessica, I want to say, let's talk reality here. This is the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate and Business Show. We have to be real. Everybody has to understand, realtors, mortgage people, have to realize this, that there will be deals that don't go at the end. Because now we verify employment a week ahead of time and then on the day of the closing. So if somebody didn't get laid off during the week, then we call on the day of the closing and we know that they've been laid off and their job cannot be guaranteed and or verified a date when they're going to come back, we can't fund that transaction. That's the reality. That's not our guidelines. That's not necessarily a Capital Mortgage Funding, Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation thing. That is a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac thing. They buy the loans in the secondary market, and we also service our own loans as well. So this is going to happen. It's happened already. It's going to happen on Monday, and it's going to happen going forward till everybody has the guarantee that they're going to go back. I just had to point that out because there are people out there that are going to ask that question. What happens if I have a closing scheduled this week? Well, we're going to verify your employment on the day of the closing. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, we want to make sure everyone's successful homeowners. No one wants to move into a home. And again, that's scary for somebody who's considering moving into a home. And then, of course, you're going to get that letter or the call in town from your boss. But, Kevin and Jess, adds another dimension in real estate. All of a sudden, those offers look a little bit different. An offer that's pre-approved and the buyer does not have a house to sell. There's no contingency. Those offers are starting to look a lot better, especially if he's just currently renting.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, all those offers, when we're taking a look at offers with sellers, and, it's hard because right now you're not seeing a home go on the market and get 6 offers. That's just not a thing right now, right? Because people can't go out and do the home. So if we see an offer come in, though, and we're in review of that offer, the price is important, but the terms become really important because the validity and how confident you are that deal is going to get to the closing table becomes a huge part of the conversation with the seller. All of our sellers, their number one concern right now is this going to get to the closing table? In the midst of what's going on out there, is this going to get to the closing table? Because if I commit to this deal, I want to know that this buyer is going to go all the way to the closing table with us. So that becomes really important. The pre-approval, the lender that's behind that pre-approval becomes very important. Our clients are asking us more than ever, are we familiar with the lender? Have we worked with them? What kind of business do they do? What kind of verification process did they do? They're asking those questions even more thoroughly right now than they have ever before. So those pieces in that preparedness becomes really, really important.
248-539-9797 if you want to join this show. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, but let's make sure that we're still protecting our buyers. Our buyers are still we're still there for you. I mean, yes, you may put an offer in. Yes, in the middle of the transaction, you may lose your job or a temporary furlough, but we're still there for you. We're still moving the process along with the assumption that this is going to get lifted for all of us and you're going to go back to work so that we're not disrupting a transaction as much as we need to. So, I mean, yes, we have to, as sellers, we have to make sure we're protecting ourselves, looking at the type of job of the person that's making the offer on the home. But at the same point, understand that we are here to make sure that everything is moving along so that if that buyer and when that buyer goes back to work, we are there for you.
John, I'm glad you brought up the point. Can I add something onto that?
Yeah.
I haven't seen I've been in the business now almost 15 years. In 15 years, I haven't seen the industry work together as well as it is right now. I truly believe that people across the board, buyers, sellers, agents, people are understanding right now. They understand, and I think that they're in it. They understand that every single person is affected by this. There's not a person around here, nobody that's not affected by this. You can see it when you're out taking a walk. People are saying hi. You know, they're waving at each other from a distance. Everyone's doing these types of things. There's a different mentality out there right now, and I think it very much is a we're all in this together, and that becomes important when you're in the middle of a real estate transaction because ultimately it's between two sets of people. We're still dealing with people, and I think people ultimately have empathy inside the situation, and they want to make it work. So even in our deals that have been tough, that we've had to bring in some of these extra addendums and add in some extra timelines and pause the deal because somebody is furloughed, the other side of the transaction every single time so far has been like, we understand, and we're here, and we're going to do this with you.
I like that. We got to bond together here and make all this work. I mean, the market was so strong to start off the year. January 2020 just started off with a bang. Delinquencies, 30 days delinquencies were at all-time lows. You know what was at all-time highs? Equity in your home. It was just 60 days ago that we were experiencing some of the best times in real estate across the United States, but more specifically here in Southeast Michigan. Look, folks, things will change. It's going to look a little differently, but hopefully it comes back and looks like the same real estate market we had, where people are back, got their feet underneath them, and they're back at their jobs, and things are really looking good. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Unemployment was at all-time lows. So we're going to be experiencing that whole thing again, hopefully really, really soon. The potential for the 30-year mortgage. Harry, let's talk about mortgage rates again. Still, if you look at the overall mortgage rate picture, we're at rates that are still at 40 or call it 45-year lows. Maybe not quite the lows we experienced there 6 weeks ago in the mortgage industry or even in 2016, but really close to being outstanding. I mean, the home buying season and home affordability is really strong here in Southeast Michigan.
Well, rates were at all-time lows for a matter of a day or two, and then they started going up. So everybody's hearing that rates are low. Yeah, overall rates are extremely low. You're never going to get it at the lowest, and there's certainly, when you talk about a mortgage interest rate environment, there isn't a better time than right now. And you are correct, Harvey. We did start the year off very, very strong. Home sales, we rolled right into 2020 with home sales being what they are. But let's talk about today. Let's talk about the current environment that we're in. If you are looking to buy a home right now, there's no better time to look to buy a home. That's if you're employed. If you're working and things haven't changed that much for you, you still can buy that house. We are going ahead and we're closing loans, purchase transactions every single day. Refinance transactions. We've locked our clients in, and we are closing refinance transactions. Let's talk about how we're doing that today. We're doing that because our title companies, our partners in the title world, they're making, and they have modified their behavior, and everybody has to modify their behavior now. We're going ahead and we're delivering packages to people's houses. Then we're FaceTiming them during the closing, and people are putting the package out on their porch, and we're picking it up. We're also doing it. We're sending documents electronically. There are plenty of ways that we can conduct business, and business this month hasn't been stronger, and I can't tell you how many months. It's very, very strong right now, but that's because we protected our clients. Now going forward, what's going to happen going forward? Again, we're modifying our behavior. Look at the way we're communicating today. Everybody's got to communicate differently. Everybody's got to be more empathetic, and everybody's got to be more cooperative now more than ever. Why should it be this way now and not like this all the time? Well, guess what? People come together when there's a crisis, and we are in the middle of a crisis, and we're all coming together to help each other. So I look at it as, what's the silver lining? The silver lining, when we come out of this, and nobody knows what the date is, and I said it on the show last week, let's not give dates because we don't know. But when we do come out of it, what's going to happen? What's going to happen is we're going to be stronger for it. We're going to know how to communicate better. We should be nicer about it having gone through something like this, and we should all be looking to help each other in ways that we've never helped each other before. So that is the silver lining, everybody.
All right, we're going to take some calls here, 248-539-9797. We're going to get a couple of the calls up on here. Lots of craziness going on out there. You got to be proactive, too, though. You are responsible. You signed your mortgage documents. You live in the house. You don't want to lose that. You don't want to start ruining your credit. If you do have a true situation that's upon you, you got to make that extra phone call and definitely reach out to your lender if that's a situation. Again, we're only 3-4 weeks into this. Again, hopefully you do have that 1-2 month in reserve. And that's why we so often talk about it when you're applying for a mortgage. Stop calling up strangers and asking what their interest rate is. It doesn't matter what your interest rate is. You need to have all that other information behind you. Again, successful home ownership is what it's all about. I mean, I don't know, just last year I couldn't get into the Cheesecake Factory. Now they're saying that business is so slow there that, right? Now they're not going to be able to pay their rent. So if they're taking it on the chin, we know a lot of people out there and businesses are going to be taking on the chin. All right, when we come back, we're going to be taking your calls. We got Becky Ailey coming up, 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the show, 9:30. If you're just joining us, it's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Again, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. You can find us there all week long. Get that strong approval letter, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage bank. You can save a ton of money. Learn how to be a successful homeowner. That's what we do. We teach you the right way to do things here. And if you are approved, you can close a loan within 30 days. We can make that happen for you. Again, a little hold up maybe with getting the inspection out there, but it sounds like there's a good there's a whole bunch of inspectors that were out there doing the right things. Again, practicing safe home inspections. They were all hazmated up. They're not going in the house with lots of different people. Kev, you guys have had some business going on. Again, I spoke to some of the top agents around the area. Lots of closings over the last few weeks. People have been under contract since early February.
Yeah, we've had a lot of contracts. We had a lot of contracts that were going and working and moving. We've had a lot of those contracts go on pause, which is fine. We've had some people that we've just had to pause out their transactions, and that's okay. We'll bring those people back in the game when this thing comes out. But, yeah, no, we're able to go through. We had a closing yesterday. It was interesting the way we had to do it. You know, you had a buyer at one title company, seller at a different title company, everybody working together, sellers going in one at a time, FaceTiming in with me with questions. And then packages delivered later, right? And so it's a different process on the closing table right now. Unfortunately, it's not as personable as we usually like it to be. Closing day is honestly my favorite day. Getting everybody in the same room, everybody's excited. They're pumped up. They get to meet each other sometimes for the first time. I can't tell you how many times I've watched them shed tears together, hug each other.
I like that.
It's an emotional thing to sell a home to somebody, especially if you've lived in that and that's been your home, not just your house, but your home for sometimes a decade plus. And so getting to do that and getting that experience is really, really fun for a buyer and seller. Unfortunately, it's one of the things that we don't have right now. But I can tell you there's ways that we can still create it and ways that we can still get through that so people can meet each other and see each other. And I've had people still exchange numbers already and say, hey, when this is all over, can we get together? Right? And so there's still a way for us to be personable, even though we have to be personable from a distance.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Hey, Becky Ailey, you want to come in and join us here? Becky Ailey from our office, representing the Downriver area. Becky, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, everyone? I've listened to the show. I obviously miss being in the studio. I should be in there next week, but obviously we're all adjusting to this new short-term normal. And to kind of attest to what everyone's been talking about is, real estate industry is the most impatient industry, or one of the most impatient industries, and now we're all forced to be patient. And in this moment in time, setting those proper expectations and having a real estate agent by your side is more valuable than anything, because you're able to ease, if you're working with a real estate agent in the middle of a purchase transaction, they're able to set those proper expectations. When you're working with a mortgage lender that knows what they're doing, we can set the tone. We're going to tell you what's going to happen and what's not going to happen, and are we going to have to hold off? And and in these moments of uncertainty, you need to be with a professional that can kind of give that inside experience that's been through something like this before. Granted, we've never been through something exactly like this before, but we've, most of us, on the call and, listening around, 2008, and, this is something that's totally different, but, you don't need to come into this with a crazy mindset. We are going to get you to that closing table. And something that I think Kevin mentioned that I want to, bring up as far as that silver lining, or Harry was talking about a silver lining. I have a purchase transaction right now where we are unfortunately going to have to put it on a pause. But we're in the middle of this transaction. The appraisal came in a little bit low. We didn't agree with it. We were able to get some additional information in order to find a value on this property that made a middle ground for both the buyer and seller. We're pushing to get this done as quickly as possible, obviously with all of the news before these layoffs were coming. Unfortunately for this buyer, we didn't make it, so we are going to have to put it on a pause. And right now she's living in a hotel, which is horrendous, right? It's nothing that anyone wanted. So in the middle of this transaction, we're having conversations on both sides. And this is where it is just that human being element could not have come forward more so in a crisis. The sellers, without even hesitation, said, we are willing to give a concession to help offset her hotel expenses because this isn't her fault.
Wow.
That blew my mind. It wasn't even a thought on anyone's mind, first of all. No one even suggested it. They could hear the disdain in her voice because what is she going to do? And it's not her fault. It's not our fault. It's not anyone's fault. So the fact that the sellers were not just, okay, screw you, that's not even on anyone's minds right now. Everyone is working together, like you guys have been saying, because we're all in this together. Everyone is touched by what's happening from one degree to another. And I'm proud for how some people are reacting. Most people, if not all, are reacting to situations like this. So that's something that I definitely wanted to touch on because you have to be a human being right now. And it's a scary time. It's a frightening time, but it doesn't have to be all bad.
We've also had, hey, Becky, good stuff, 248-539-9797 if you want to join us. We've got 5 people on the line right now. We got Kevin Stewart, Stewart Team Real Estate Partners with Jessica Zielke out there, John Kolb, mortgage expert Becky Ailey, Harry Glanz, myself, Harvey Freed here in the studio. Again, taking all your calls, 248-539-9797. I love the warm, fuzzy feeling. There's no doubt about it. You used to see it, Kevin. We used to always have the closings where everyone was in the same room, 1 or 2 title companies. It didn't matter. Everyone was packed in there, and we were finding out great information about the neighbor 2 doors down, about the guy across the street who picks up everyone's mail, and the kids who shovel your driveway, all the good stuff. When's garbage day? And something about old-fashioned closings. Boy, I hope we get back to that, because there's so much great information when you are sitting down. And Kevin, you mentioned it, all the love and the joy that truly comes from home ownership. This is really your lifelong dream is to have a piece of the property.
Yeah, I think the reminder on that for everybody is so great. I think it's something that we honestly needed. I think we as a society needed a reminder that people matter and the people around you matter. And it's not just about you and yours, but it's about everybody. And we're all in life together. And I think that this has really softened some people up. I really think it softens in a good way, not in a bad way, in a really good way. I think it softens some people up to realize that we're in it together. And in our industry, we can be so much better as an industry if people have that mentality and people are of that mentality. So we love it, especially for our company, because our company is centered around that. We're very people-centric. We're relationship-centric. We become very close with our clients, with our buyers and sellers. We try to become lifelong friends with them, not just the people that work a transaction, but people that become in deep relationship with the people that we work with. So for us, it's a breath of fresh air because it's something that we've wanted to have happen, and we're seeing it happen more around us, and other people pick up that culture of wanting to work with each other, which I just love it. I think it's really, really cool right now. All
right. The mortgage transactions have become a little bit more difficult for certain reasons. One of the reasons are the criteria, your debt to income ratio, the Federal Housing Administration, Veterans Administration, USDA, United States Department of Agriculture on these rural development loans. Yes, they've all bumped up the minimum credit scores. That's a big thing. John Kolb, minimum credit scores. We were getting families approved with 580 and above on FHA loans. John, they put a halt to all that stuff. And a lot of those families might have missed an opportunity. I mean, hopefully that opportunity comes back. But again, more and more reason to make sure you're paying your bills on time. John, talk about credit scores and the vulnerability we had in the mortgage industry because we were allowing families with lower credit scores to get mortgages.
Well, I mean, you got to understand that a lot of the loans that are out there with what's going on right now in temporary layoffs, the mortgage industry needs to make sure that people are still able to make their first payments or continue to make their payments. So unfortunately, these are temporary guidelines, Harvey. Let's put that first and foremost. Temporary, not permanent, and they're gonna release that. But for right now, while people are going through this, it's just a little bit tighter lending, just like it was back after 2008 and 2010. So, we're just going through things that are going to just try to take some of the more risky loans off the table so that those people don't have any problems defaulting. And right or wrong, that's just what the industry is doing. And we're going to play by the rules and get everybody done when we can get them done. And, if you're in the middle of looking for a home.
What happened in 2008, there was a financial crisis going on in 2008. So lenders just stopped funding loans at that point in time. There were loans that were underwritten, ready to go to a closing table, and funds never showed up. That is not this time. Okay, nope. This time that we're going through is really protecting, like John said, it's protecting lenders, it's protecting borrowers from themselves. I mean, if you got laid off, just hear me out. I'm going to get calls on this. Why would you want to close on that transaction right this second if you've been laid off? Hey, think about that. Just common sense and intellectually think about that. Then you can't make your first payment, your second payment, your third payment. It doesn't do you or your family or anybody any good to go into debt like that. That's number one.
Maybe this little bump, Harry. Hey, Harry, we'll come back right after the break. We'll go over number two and different reasons why you might need to put more of your ducks in a row. Save up a little bit more money. Work on that credit score a little bit. This could be a good time for you over the next 30, 60, 90 days to improve your mortgageability. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We'll be right back with all your calls. 248-539-9797. All right, welcome back to the show, 9:44. If you're just joining us, it's April 4th, 2020. That's right, we're right in the middle of spring here, about 54, 57 degrees today. It's going to be decent. Get out there and do your exercise and just stay 6 feet apart. I've never walked this much in my life. We got everyone on the line here. If you're listening to the Hardcore Mortgage Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. I'm Harvey Freed, live in the studio. We've got Kevin Stewart and Jessica Zielke, Stewart Team Real Estate Partners, downtown Rochester. I don't know what's going on in downtown Rochester because, again, there's no restaurants specifically open to sit down in, but there's all the carry out going on. And, again, if you have some favorite restaurants, definitely support them. Buy that gift card. Keep things going here. So when things do change, no timelines here, when things do change for the better, that everyone will be back with their feet on the ground and moving in the right direction. Home ownership's really fun, Kevin, Jessica. It's fun stuff. I couldn't be more excited for a lot of my clients that purchased here at the beginning of 2020. We've had some great closings to start off the year. Yes, things are a little scary now. Take care of your family, take care of your health, but home ownership is something that's the American dream. That's never going to change. And definitely, you can get yourself really prepared for home ownership. There's less and less of the programs that were lenient. They're not going to be as lenient moving forward here. It's going to take some time for the economy to come back. So again, maybe there's an opportunity here where you call a real mortgage professional, a real mortgage lender, and build that relationship with them. Find out what you can do to improve your credit scores, to put your funds away, to talk about the funds you're going to use to purchase a house. Gentlemen, if you guys want to jump in, Jessica, if you want to jump in with this, there's no doubt this is a little opportunity. Again, as I step back, and Harry, we talked about it at the office, we're going to service the clients we have locked in, and we're going to close our loans and do a great job with them. But let's also start moving forward and get some of the tougher families out there that want to become homeowners, get them prepared for this over the next few months. You guys jumping in on that?
Yeah, I think we need to get people really prepared right now. I think that people need to be prepared.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like we've been saying from the beginning that even our folks that are first-time homebuyers, they still have an opportunity. The opportunity hasn't been removed from them. That if they were, and if it just comes down to the fact that you are temporary leave from work and or your credit score has changed, again, it's just temporary. And that's the conversations that Stewart Team Real Estate Partners is having with our clients. And I know John and I have a lot of clients together, and those are the same conversations. The nice thing about that, it doesn't mean that something's been taken away from you. You still have an opportunity to become a homeowner in this time, in this circumstance. Realistically, a lot of people are on pause. A lot of those sellers are on pause as well. So just like you said, absolutely, there are additional pieces that we're having conversations about with these buyers to try and get you in a better position 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, that absolutely only provides additional leverage to get you to that home of your dreams and puts you in a much better position from a competitive standpoint if they have additional buyers when this fire hose completely turns on again.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and that's a great point. I mean, what are sellers going to do? Why wouldn't you be a little bit more accommodating? Because are you going to put the house back on the market, and then with no one going out to see the home, no one's going to close on a transaction without seeing a home. So if you put your house back on the market and people can't get in there to do the inspection or the appraisal or whatever it may be to make sure that they want that home and love that home, the process is going to be just as long, if not longer, if you're going to try to take it away from somebody who's going through a tough time through, job loss or something like that. So
yeah,
you definitely,
that's absolutely right, John,
I love that people are working together. And yes, we've got a couple transactions that we've got going where people are getting laid off Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and it's unfortunate, but we're going to get it through, and we're going to stay on the forefront of it. Make sure that we're educating our clients on what they need to do to get ready, so that when they do go back, you just have to be back to work day one, and we can go.
Well, and just like it has been in the past, and I think it's even more important right now, communication and transparency becomes vital inside the transaction. People have to communicate. You have to be talking to your clients very, very, very regularly. The two agents need to be communicating very regularly. We need to really open up our lines of communication and just talk. Get on the phone and have a conversation and work through it. And that becomes so much more important right now. And it's something that I think that our industry had lost for a little bit. They'd lost some of their communication. They hide behind email. They hide behind things like that. Instead of just picking up the phone and having a conversation and being real and transparent about what's going on with the buyer and seller inside their lives. And there's nothing wrong with doing that, because ultimately that's what's going to get them to the goal. The goal is to get to the closing table. And people sometimes forget that. They lose sight of that, and they start thinking about the wrong goal. And the goal is to get to the closing table.
Well, also, you guys are talking to your realtor partners. You have people that at other real estate agencies, other real estate brokers. They're all going through the same thing you are. I talk to multiple lenders. Everybody thinks everybody in the lending community, we're all at odds with each other. We're all competitors. It doesn't work that way, okay? It works in the way that everybody's collaborating and everybody's going through the same thing at the same time. Everybody likes to say, oh, that's my competition. I don't talk to my competition. Well, you know what? If you've been in the business for a very long time, you can call your competitors, okay? Because we've all been doing this for a very long time. And we can be open and honest with one another and say, hey, listen, what's going on at your place? I talked to a lender the other day. As a matter of fact, yesterday I got a call from a lender, and he told me that, listen, he was going through a refinance with his own company, okay, with his own underwriters, and he says, hey, Harry, here are the things that we have to do at our company. I said, everybody has to do it. It's not just one lender doing it and the other lender not doing it. Everybody in the industry is connected. Everybody's a team, and we all will get through this together, and I believe that. That's not just some kind of saying. I'm seeing it within our own group. As Becky said, everybody is coming together, and everything's getting things done.
Yeah, and we're the same way with other agents. We're constantly in communication with other agents, and we're having the conversations about what they're doing with their clients, what they're doing with their buyers and sellers, what decisions are they making as a company, what's their stance. I mean, I have had dozens of conversations in the last 2 weeks just with other real estate professionals being very open and honest and transparent about what's going on in their world. And then a little bit of conversations over fear. I mean, there's a time, it's it's scary right now. I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying that it's a little bit scary right now. But I think the more that we talk that through, the fear becomes less and less because we realize that we're all in that same boat.
Well,
and
there's all kinds of crazy information out there, and I'm a big proponent of disseminating accurate versus inaccurate information. Do not get caught up in rumor, innuendo. Please don't get caught up in that. You know, if you go to the people that know, listen to the people that are in the industry, that are in it every single day and are actually doing transactions. There's an old adage I go by. It's called fix the problem, not the blame. Don't look to blame anybody. Look to fix whatever problem you have at hand right now and move forward with it. Don't blame people for things. Move forward and look for a solution. And that's what I see more people doing right now than ever. I don't want to hear any bad-mouthing. I don't want to hear any negativity. I don't want to hear that. I just want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. And people have to realize that. That's what's going on right now. Be part of the solution. Make sure things are happening and push forward.
Right, and I'm taking that advice, Harry.
Harvey, let's talk about how the things that we're putting in place to make sure that we're still moving along with the transaction. I mean, how beneficial could a refinance be right now for somebody who might be able to skip a month of payment or two and not have to call up their mortgage company and defer something? So with our vendors and our partners that we're working with, we're getting transactions done safely, and so that people can take that benefit of cheaper payment, skip a house payment if they've got some financial things going on, to help you move along and get through this a little bit easier and a little bit better.
Yeah, if you're out there and you definitely, if you purchased a house, maybe 16, 17, 18 the last 3 years, you might have some built-up equity in there. And again, you might even have an FHA loan, a USDA loan, a loan that just has a little bit higher interest rate than today's marketplace. But by consolidating some debt and using a little bit of that equity in the house, you really can set yourself up to get you through this tougher time this summer, which could be a little bit slower for a lot of the families who are just getting maybe back to work if they were just laid off. Again, unemployment just in January was at an all-time low, and now we're looking at potentially going up to 20% unemployment. Just crazy numbers out there. Again, around the corner, things can change. Things change quickly, as we see so often in the stock market and mortgage rates and just an overall in life. So, again, try to do the right thing. Harry's preaching for a kinder, gentler nation. I'm with you, Harry, on that. I need to get some of that bad karma out of my window, too, Harry. There's no doubt. Being nice to people, doing the right things, good things will find you. Hey, guys, that's it. That was 1 hour of our little Zoom conferencing here on 97.1 The Ticket. We did some form of a video presentation on this. Again, we'll put it up on our website. Check us out on Facebook. Always like us, the Hardcore Mortgage Show, and you could always find us at Capital Mortgage Funding. All right, I see Pat Caputo out there. He's definitely coming in with sports and social commentary. I want to thank Jessica Zielke, Kevin Stewart, Stewart Team Real Estate Partners out in Rochester, John Kolb, Becky Alley for calling in. Call Capital Mortgage Funding all week long. Save money on that refinance. And if you want to buy a house, we'll get you pre-approved the correct way and get your loan closed. Again, we are brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, a 1-800 low rate, the best mortgage banker. We'll catch you here next Saturday. Keep here on 97.1 The Ticket.